I first got exposed to the military as a teenager, 14, 15, from the U.S. Naval Sea Cadet Corps. And it was from there I kind of found my niche, and I really had a passion for the military. And I always liked being in charge, the guy in charge giving out the order. My grades in school improved. I got direction in life. So I got to the point at the end of high school where I knew I wanted to become a military officer, but my grades were not there. And I wasn't there to get into a good school, to get that 4-year degree, to get a commission. So Valley Forge Military Academy and College was my answer. The 2-year college program and the ROTC program is what I needed to get my academics in order, to develop study habits, so I could go on to a 4-year degree and become an officer. For me, it was a very natural transition to Valley Forge because I'd already had a little bit of military training with the Sea Cadets. I was an athlete, so I always maxed the PT test. And it's just, I needed to work on my studies, the study hall environment. That's what I needed. I needed somebody to sit me down, open your book, and crack the books. And that's what Valley Forge did for me. And the rest, honestly, is history. As they say, actions speak louder than words. So what Valley Forge meant to me, I will demonstrate by my actions. And as you can see, I've published a bunch of books, all on Amazon. In the acknowledgements of most of my books, I read down here towards the bottom of this page, to Valley Forge Military Academy and College, who gave me my academic foundation to become a success in life. So the moral of the story is your actions speak louder than words. This is action. What was great for me at Valley Forge, those gold stars. They had those gold stars representing your academic level. I wanted those gold stars. One, I thought they looked cool. Two, I wanted to be the top of my class. So I worked hard to get those gold stars. And you got more privileges. They gave you a motivation for achievement. That really worked for me. Carried on the rest of my life, my career, my academic career. I eventually got a master's degree. And my family have doctorate degrees and medical professionals. And so that influence has not only affected me in my successful career, but my children, my grandchildren, hopefully. I wrote an autobiography. It hasn't been released yet, called My Military Life. And in that book, I include the book, the conclusion, and in the subtitle, From Sea Cadet to Lieutenant Colonel United States Army, No Regret. And that's how I end the book. I end the book by saying, looking back on the 32 years in uniform, do I have any regret? And I say, absolutely no regret. I would do it all over again. Actions speak louder than words. I will show you another example from one of my books. This is leadership lessons. So I did the Combat Journal book series, which was my journal when I went to Operation Iraqi Freedom. I kept a daily journal. Leadership lessons came out of that journal because there were so many leadership challenges with our commander that book wrote itself. And then eventually I made a syllabus for, I do lectures for various colleges and whatnot. And that's based on leadership lessons. So I got leadership lessons, okay? And we're talking about leadership. And I always start and end my book with a legacy quote. They're original quotes from me. Lead, follow, or get the heck out of my way. That's why I conclude this book. Thomas Paine said that. George Patton said that. Chesty Puller, USMC, said that. And who else? Valley Forge Military Academy and College graduate. Major John J. McBrearty, Operation Iraqi Freedom, 2003 to 5. Actions speaking louder than words. Picking a school is a big decision, but I honestly, I would look at the alumni, some of the success that we have in our ranks. I mean, H.R. McMaster, he was a classmate of mine, and he and I correspond occasionally. Now he's higher up on the totem pole in the literary world, but you know, it's good company to keep. It was a great decision for me. And I'd say, put your toe in the water. You try a semester, see if you like it. Do another semester. You like it, come back the next year. It's kind of what I did. My parents, they front loaded the first year of tuition. And they said, anything beyond this, you're going to Temple, where dad's a professor, and you can go free. Well, I really wanted to stay at Valley Forge. I forged so many great relationships. My grades were good. I graduated second in my class. So that Magna Cum Laude and Phi Beta Kappa follows me the rest of my life. It's on my resume till this day. So take a chance, hear testimonies, look at the alumni and their track record, and make your decision. Friend, one of my former roommates is Brendan O'Connor. Brendan O'Connor he had a special forces career. He went on to be awarded the Distinguished Service Cross. He is one of the highest decorated war veterans of my generation. And he's been a lifelong friend my whole life. He was the best man at my wedding. So those are the kind of friendships that were forged through Valley Forge till this day. I mean, I graduated there 80 years ago, and I'm still friends and still in contact with alumni associations. We have events. We're doing a charity golf tournament for alumni here in California. We have my books in the Valley Forge Library, in the museum. So, I mean, I can't complain. Valley Forge has been really good to me. I got a lot out of the education, and my family's benefited from it. When I was a cadet there, he had a cadet. He's a lieutenant commander, and one of the big shots. His name is Tom Bell. His whole family went to this school. Dad, uncle, grandfather. And he went on to become a very successful colonel in the aviation community of the Army. Tom and I stayed in touch over the years, but the reason why I bring up Tom is he was the editor of the newspaper. And I was writing a little short stories about a cadet, his experience because he was in military school. And he kept hitting me up. Give me something for the paper. Give me something for the paper. So I would be sometimes at the last minute, but to kind of keep Tom happy, I would create these little stories. And they're out there floating around the world someday. So that's how it kind of got me started. And then I wrote some articles for military publications when we deployed. And then combat essays. Combat essays is a series of essays and that I wrote about our unit for the combat. They sent them back to newspapers and publications. And, it was published all over the place, these individual essays. So I made a book out. And so that, when I retired, I got into a Veterans Affairs support groups. And through the support groups, I met a mentor, and he helped me. My first book is my master's thesis for my study of American history, and that was my first book, and that's where I really learned the whole craft of how to put a book together, market, and all that. Following that, I knocked out two shorter, smaller books, but again, perfecting my craft. Eventually, got into my bigger publications, the Combat Journal, which might be turned into a movie sometime in the near future. And then again, the leadership jumped out of that. And then I had, it's not even up there, I have another book, another series that I started, and I think it published. There's three of it. It's not even up there yet because they're so new. And then I eventually ended up doing a children's series of books that have a moral a message to them, and they're in the works and coming out very soon. What I will preface is I have 11 books published on Amazon, and most of these I've given acknowledgement to Valley Forge because they helped me get here in life. Some are bestsellers. I write. The purpose behind my writing is for the soldiers and the Marines that I served with. And I dedicate every book to the 5 soldiers we lost in combat. And I never want them to be forgotten. And I write for those soldiers, the soldiers I deployed with, and their families and fellow veterans. Kind of like some fatherly advice that I always like to try to impart on the youth when I give lectures to high schools and universities and colleges, usually on topics of leadership. Picking a school is a very big decision. An even bigger decision is picking your partner in life, we'll call it. Now, I'll use me as an example. My wife and I have been married for over 40 years, and we dated 2 years, engaged for 1 year, and met her at Temple University. Long story short, she is just retired as a 31-year school teacher, has a master's degree in education administration. Our academic home environment to help influence our daughter to go to medical school. She's an internal medicine doctor in high standards. Her husband is as well. And our son just completed his biochemistry degree as an EMT and continuing his postgraduate studies also in the medical field. So Valley Forge has transcended beyond just me alone to our family and friends and co-workers. So I am forever grateful. I also can be seen in the film Taps. It was filmed at Valley Forge. Somehow I got in that movie. I don't know how, but if you look at Tom Cruise and the Timothy Hutton and Sean Penn, where they do the trick drill scene, I'm the guy leading the crew in the drill. So I got lucky on that. The virtues that Valley Forge instilled in their cadets was, Valley Forge cadet will not lie, cheat, or steal, nor tolerate those that do. And I'll tell you, those virtues, I took them to heart and took them with me into the military service and throughout my life. And it really pays dividends because I talk a lot in the books about, your character. Your character is your actions. It's what you do when people aren't around to watch. What are you doing? That demonstrates your character. And Valley Forge had a big influence on me, developing proper character to become a good officer, to lead by example, and become a good father, and a good humanitarian. So.